Welcome back to Rabbi David Unfiltered. If you are watching this, you are probably tired of waking up every morning feeling like you are already behind. You check your phone, you look at your bank account, and before your feet even hit the floor, the anxiety of the day has already taken over. You rush through your morning routine, grab a coffee, and immediately start chasing money, hoping that today will be the day things finally change. But what if I told you that the way you start your morning is exactly why you are struggling financially? What if the secret to wealth is not about waking up earlier or working harder, but about doing something completely different in the very first minutes of your day? Before we dive into this life-changing morning routine, I want to invite you to join the Torah Millionaire Business School. For a limited time, you can enroll for just $299. This is where we take these ancient Jewish wealth principles and apply them directly to your modern business and financial life. The link is in the comments and in the description below. Do not miss this opportunity to transform your financial future. Now, let us talk about your morning. The world tells you that the morning is for hustling. The productivity gurus tell you to wake up at 4 in the morning, take a cold shower, and immediately start grinding. But Jewish wisdom teaches something entirely different. The Torah teaches that the morning is not for chasing wealth. The morning is for aligning yourself with the source of wealth. If you start your day by chasing money, you will be running after it until you go to sleep. But if you start your day by aligning your mind and your soul with the Creator, the money will start chasing you. Today, I am going to share with you 5 profound ancient Jewish morning practices that are completely different from anything you have heard before. These are deep, time-tested habits that the wealthiest Jewish families have used for centuries to set the foundation for a day of massive financial blessing. The first practice is called Cheshbon HaNefesh, which means an accounting of the soul. Most people associate this practice with the evening as a way to review the mistakes of the day before going to sleep. But the great masters of the Musar movement, the 19th century Lithuanian school of Jewish ethics, taught that a specific version of this accounting must be done in the morning. Before you look at your emails, before you check the stock market, before you let the world rush in, you sit in silence and you take a precise accounting of your spiritual and financial purpose for the day ahead. The Talmud in Tractate Barakot teaches that a person must direct their heart to heaven before they direct their hands to their work. This is not a vague spiritual suggestion. It is a practical instruction for how to begin your day with maximum clarity and power. Let me tell you about Cornelius. Cornelius was a brilliant software engineer who decided to start his own technology company. He was incredibly smart, but his mornings were a disaster. He would wake up, immediately grab his phone, and start reading industry news and checking what his competitors were doing. By the time he sat down at his desk, he was already stressed, defensive, and operating from a place of scarcity. He felt like he was constantly fighting a losing battle. His company was barely surviving, and he was burning out fast. Then Cornelius learned about the morning Cheshbon HaNefesh. He realized that by starting his day reacting to the world, he was letting the world dictate his financial reality, so he changed his routine. He stopped looking at his phone for the first hour of every morning. Instead, he spent 15 minutes in quiet reflection. He asked himself 3 questions. First, what is my true purpose today? Second, how can my work bring genuine value to others? And third, am I operating from faith or from fear? This simple morning accounting changed everything for Cornelius. Instead of starting his day in a panic, he started it with clarity and intention. He stopped reacting to his competitors and started focusing on his own unique mission. Within a year, his company launched a product that transformed their industry, and his revenue grew beyond anything he had imagined. The morning Cheshbon Hanefesh did not change his intelligence. It changed his alignment. It shifted him from a reactive state of scarcity to a proactive state of abundance. The second morning practice involves the daily reading of Parashat Haman, the portion of the Torah that describes the falling of the manna in the desert. The manna was the miraculous bread from heaven that fed the Israelites for 40 years as they wandered in the wilderness. But the manna was not just food, it was a daily lesson in financial faith. The Torah in the book of Exodus tells us that every person gathered exactly what they needed for that day. Those who gathered a lot had nothing left over, and those who gathered a little lacked nothing. And most critically, they could not save it for the next day. They had to trust completely that God would provide again tomorrow. The Talmud in Tractate Yoma states that whoever reads the portion of the manna every day is guaranteed that their food will never be lacking. This is one of the most powerful financial promises in all of Jewish literature, and yet almost nobody outside the Jewish community knows about it. Consider the story of Vivian. Vivian owned a boutique marketing agency. She was very successful, but she was consumed by financial anxiety. She was terrified of losing clients, terrified of economic downturns, and terrified that she would not have enough money to pay her team. Her anxiety was so severe that it was affecting her health and her relationships. She was working 18-hour days, driven entirely by the fear of not having enough. Vivian started reading Parashat Haman every morning. At first, it was just words on a page, but slowly the message began to sink in. She realized that her anxiety came from the false belief that she was the sole provider of her wealth. She was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. The story of the manna taught her that her effort was necessary, but it was not the source of her blessing. Her effort was just the vessel. The filling of that vessel came from above. This realization lifted a massive burden off Vivian. She continued to work hard, but the frantic, desperate energy was gone. She started trusting that if she did her part with integrity, the sustenance would come. And it did. Her business grew, but more importantly, she finally found peace. She learned that true wealth is not just about having money. It is about having the peace of mind to enjoy it. Reading Parashat Haman every morning rewired her brain to trust in divine provision rather than her own frantic hustle. The third morning practice is rooted in the concept of Ahavat Yisrael, loving your fellow as yourself, but applied specifically to the world of business. The great Chassidic masters taught that before you begin your day, you must explicitly declare your intention to love and help others. You say out loud, "I hereby take upon myself the positive commandment to love my fellow as myself." Now, you might be wondering what loving your fellow has to do with making money. The answer is everything. Business is fundamentally about solving problems for other people. If you go into your day looking only to extract value from others, people will sense it. They will put up their guard, and every transaction will be a struggle. But if you start your day with the explicit intention to bring value, to help, and to serve, you become a magnet for opportunity. The Kabbalistic tradition teaches that chesed, loving kindness, is the divine attribute that opens the channels of abundance. When you align yourself with chesed in the morning, you align yourself with the very force that sustains the universe. Let us look at the story of Reginald. Reginald was a real estate agent. He was aggressive, competitive, and entirely focused on his commissions. He viewed every client as a transaction and every other agent as a competitor to be crushed. He made a decent living, but he had to fight tooth and nail for every deal. He had no loyal clients, and his reputation in the industry was poor. He was exhausted from the constant battle. Reginald decided to try this morning declaration. Every morning before he left his house, he said out loud, "Today, my goal is to help every person I meet, to serve them with honesty, and to seek their best interest above my own." It felt unnatural at first, but he forced himself to carry this intention into every meeting. When he met with a young couple looking for their first home, instead of pushing them toward the most expensive property, he genuinely listened to their needs and helped them find a home they could actually afford. The shift in Reginald was immediate and palpable. His clients stopped seeing him as a salesman and started seeing him as a trusted advisor. They began referring their friends and family to him. Other agents started cooperating with him instead of fighting him. His business transformed from a daily grind into a thriving network of relationships. By starting his morning with the intention to serve, Reginald unlocked a level of wealth he had never imagined possible. He learned that the most profitable business strategy in the world is genuine care for others. The fourth morning practice involves the study of halakha, specifically the laws of ethical business conduct known as Choshen Mishpat. Many people think of Torah study as something abstract or purely spiritual, but Jewish law is extraordinarily practical. It governs exactly how you must conduct yourself in the marketplace. It covers everything from fair pricing and honest weights to paying workers on time and avoiding deceptive advertising. The practice is to study a small portion of these business laws every single morning. Why is this so powerful? Because it sets your ethical compass before you face the temptations of the day. When you are in the middle of a high-pressure negotiation, it is easy to rationalize a small lie or a slight deception. But if you have just spent your morning studying the strict laws of honesty, those principles are fresh in your mind and they act as a shield against unethical behavior. The Talmud in Tractate Shabbat teaches that the very first question a person is asked in the heavenly court is, "Did you conduct your business affairs with honesty and faithfulness?" Not how much you prayed, not how much you studied, how you treated people in the marketplace. Take the case of Bartholomew. Bartholomew ran a large manufacturing company. The industry was notoriously cutthroat, and cutting corners was the accepted norm. Bartholomew often found himself making small compromises, using slightly cheaper materials than promised, or delaying payments to suppliers to improve his cash flow. He justified it by saying that everyone else was doing it, and he had to do it to survive. But Bartholomew felt a deep sense of unease. He started studying a few paragraphs of Choshen Mishpat every morning. He read about the severe prohibition against deceiving a customer, even in the smallest way. He read about the obligation to pay a worker on the exact day their wages are due. These ancient laws pierced through his modern rationalizations. Bartholomew made a radical decision. He was going to run his company strictly according to these laws, no matter the short-term cost. He stopped using the cheaper materials. He started paying his suppliers early. He became completely transparent with his customers about delivery times and product specifications. At first, his profit margins took a hit. His competitors laughed at him. But then something remarkable happened. His customers realized that Bartholomew was the only manufacturer they could actually trust. When the economy took a downturn and businesses were looking for reliable partners, they came to Bartholomew. His business grew dramatically. By studying the laws of honest business every morning, he built a reputation of unbreakable integrity, and that integrity became his greatest financial asset. The fifth and final morning practice is the deep recitation and meditation on the Aleinu prayer. This prayer is traditionally said at the end of the 3 daily prayer services, but its message is absolutely essential for setting the tone of your financial day. The Aleinu prayer is a declaration of the ultimate sovereignty of God over the entire world. It is a reminder that everything we do, including our business and our wealth creation, is part of a much larger cosmic plan to perfect the world under the kingdom of the Almighty. The Hebrew phrase at the heart of this prayer is letaken olam bemalkut shaddai, to repair and perfect the world under the sovereignty of the Almighty. When you recite Aleinu in the morning and meditate on these words, you are elevating your work from a mundane pursuit of money to a holy mission. You are reminding yourself that your business is not just about buying a bigger house or a nicer car. Your business is a tool to bring light into the world. It is a vehicle for tzedakah, for supporting Torah study, and for creating a society built on justice and compassion. Consider the story of Eleanor. Eleanor was a highly successful corporate lawyer. She made a tremendous amount of money, but she felt completely empty. She spent her days arguing over contracts and fighting corporate battles that seemed to have no real meaning. She felt like her life had no purpose. She was rich, but she was spiritually bankrupt. Eleanor began to focus deeply on the words of the Aleinu prayer every morning. She meditated on the phrase about perfecting the world under the sovereignty of the Almighty. She realized that her legal skills and her wealth were not just for her own benefit. They were resources given to her to make a difference in the world. Eleanor did not quit her job. Instead, she changed her purpose. She started using a significant portion of her income to fund legal clinics for people who could not afford representation. She took on pro bono cases for individuals who had been wronged by large corporations. She used her influence in the corporate world to advocate for fairer labor practices. Her work was exactly the same, but her intention was completely different. She was no longer just a lawyer making money. She was a partner in perfecting the world. This shift brought a profound sense of joy and fulfillment to her life. Her wealth finally had a purpose, and that purpose gave her the energy and drive to achieve even greater financial success. These 5 morning practices, the Cheshbon HaNefesh, reading Parashat Haman, declaring the intention to love your fellow, studying the laws of ethical business, and reciting the Aleinu prayer are not magic spells. They are profound psychological and spiritual realignments. They take you out of the mindset of scarcity, fear, and selfishness and place you in a mindset of abundance, faith, and service. When you start your day with these practices, you are not just preparing to make money. You are preparing to receive blessing. You are building a vessel that is strong enough, pure enough, and large enough to hold the massive wealth that the Creator wants to give you. You are transforming your morning from a frantic race into a sacred foundation. Think about what your mornings look like right now. Most people wake up and immediately hand their mind over to the world. They check social media, they read the news, they scroll through emails, and within minutes, their brain is flooded with anxiety, comparison, and distraction. By the time they start their workday, they are already emotionally depleted. They are reacting to the world instead of creating their world. This is the trap that keeps most people financially stuck. Not a lack of intelligence, not a lack of opportunity, a lack of morning alignment. The Jewish tradition understood this thousands of years ago. The great Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the founder of the Musar movement, taught that a person who does not work on their character in the morning will find that their character works against them throughout the day. He was not just talking about being a good person. He was talking about the practical, daily work of aligning your inner world with your outer goals. When your inner world is aligned with faith, with purpose, and with love for others, your outer world begins to reflect that alignment. Opportunities appear, relationships deepen, decisions become clearer, and wealth flows naturally to those who are prepared to receive it. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you read the news, before you let the anxiety of the world rush in, take 15 minutes, sit in a quiet place, do your accounting of the soul, read the story of the manna, declare your intention to love and serve others, study one law of ethical business, and recite the Aleinu prayer with deep concentration. Do this for 30 days. Watch what happens to your stress levels. Watch what happens to your relationships. Watch what happens to your business. You will be amazed at the transformation. You will realize that the secret to changing your financial life was never about working harder. It was always about starting your day with the right alignment. This is the wisdom of the Torah. This is the legacy of the Jewish people. It is a legacy of profound spiritual depth and immense practical success, and it is available to anyone who is willing to learn and apply it. Do not let another morning go by in a state of panic and reaction. Take control of your morning. Take control of your mind. Align yourself with the Creator and watch as the doors of abundance swing wide open for you. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. And remember, the Torah Millionaire Business School is open right now for enrollment at $299. The link is in the comments and in the description below. Come and join thousands of people who are applying these ancient principles to build real, lasting wealth in the modern world. True wealth is not just about what you have in your bank account. It is about who you become in the process of creating it. May you be blessed with a morning of peace, a day of purpose, and a lifetime of true abundance. Shalom.